Okay, what I want to do is show you how to balance the controller mental group data now. Hopefully the screen's not flickering. I've made it the background a shade of grey to hopefully prevent it. But so the first step is you want to answer the question, are both control and mentor samples present? And you do this by just a very simple calculation. So you just go equals control times mentor greater than 0. And if what this will do, the simple formula is if one of them's missing, it will essentially times it by a number by 0, which will then result in a false coming back to us. So you can just drag and drag this down. And so what we see is where there are no matching records, we get a false. Where there is a matching record, we get a true. So we're only really, since you can't balance anything if there's no corresponding partner between matching control or mentor, we really want to just filter this now. So just go data, filter it on true. So we're only interested in these samples. So actually what it's worth doing initially is actually just getting an idea of how many samples you have. So if we click on that, we've got 469 control and we've got 470 on the mentor side of that. So, and all up that comes to 939. Okay, the reason I just did that is just so you get an understanding of how many samples we'll lose in the balancing process. So the next step is to go, what is the minimum sample in the pair? And all this is we go equals min. So this is just an Excel min function of the two. And then we double click and go down. So what we're doing is selecting the smallest of the pair, because essentially that's what we have to balance for. That's in most cases we can't get additional mentor control customers, so we just have to go for the lowest value in the pair. And then what we have to do now is go samples to remove from control. So that samples to remove from control to balance, and we just go click on the cell for the number of control customers. Whoops, sorry, equals control customers minus the min equals 0, and then we just auto fill down. So these are the number of samples you'd have to remove from the control to balance the group. And we're going to do the same thing for the mentor, samples to remove from mentor. And there we go. We go equals mentor minus the minimum of the pair equals. Okay, so what does this all mean? This means that in this sample here, the first one, Motorola V9 on this $49 plan, since there's one in each, we've calculated that we don't need to remove any to balance that. However, on the next one, there are 5 control customers and 4 mentor customers. So this analysis says we have to remove one sample from the control. And essentially what we do is we use these two rows and we basically just send those off to either David or hopefully David will create us a new tool which we can do this ourselves. And basically David will then randomly remove samples from each permutation, or remove the number of samples that we've asked for from each permutation, and we'll end up with a balanced data set. We'll end up with the control group will match the mentor group in terms of composition. Nice and simple. And what we find is that if we end up having to remove large numbers of samples, there's obviously a big issue with the data set being mismatched. So then you just really have to question the data set and see whether the telco can provide a better one, or really just take that mismatch into account when you do the analysis and really put potentially just raise some alarm bells about it. But that is the basic balancing process.